so than adults, are very susceptible to fear, thus making them the perfect targets for the horror genre. While you're still a kid, you believe anything is possible. Your imagination can run wild. And personally, when I was a kid, that's why I loved it. I could picture medieval knights battling a ferocious dragon, or a race of secret alien beings living on Earth wearing human skin suits, all while they plot to take us out. Now that I've experienced reality, I sadly know better. Animated films are one of the few types of horror films, though, that can be shared between children and adults alike, inspiring that kind of imagination and suspension of disbelief, and sending you down a rabbit hole of what's possible and how spooky things can really be. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 spooky animated horror films. Number 1, The Spine of Night. In 2021, this adult animated dark fantasy horror was released with positive reviews, and for the most part, I agree with it. The story is very engaging, following So as she tracks down the Guardian to figure out what to do with the last bloom that has brought infinite knowledge to the humans. She tells the Guardian of her death and all that has happened while he stood guard, protecting this delicate flower. Probably the spookiest thing about the entire film is when he learns that after all that the humans have done, especially one man named Gulsor, the Guardian questions So, must knowledge only come at a terrible cost? As if reliving his own life and quest for knowledge, he had to strike down the previous guard, just as that guard has done before, and so on and so on. For the most part, the people who were able to obtain even a fraction of this knowledge wanted to protect it. But yet, there were others who would do anything to continue gaining all the knowledge there was. There's even this pantheon which has the library, where Gulsor was once imprisoned at, containing books from all across the lands. One of the guards learns of the harrowing truth that people outside those walls are starving, yet the council for the library won't open their doors to provide the food that they know they could share. I feel this film is more spooky in a sense of a quest for knowledge, or is ignorance really bliss? The animation takes me back to the late 80s, early 90s, but the attention to detail, especially in the kills, is strangely satisfying. The voice actors are on point, featuring Richard E. Grant, Lucy Lawless, Peyton Oswalt, Betty Gabriel, and Joe Manganiello. This film will make you think about a few different themes, most of which I have not touched on. So make sure to grab some popcorn and a good friend while you check out The Spine of Night on AMC+, Sling, Roku, Prime, Philo, Fandango, Apple TV, or Redbox. Number 2, Coraline. Neil Gaiman wrote the novella Coraline in 2002, which is the premise for this 2009 animated gothic dark fantasy horror film. We follow an 11-year-old Coraline after she and her family move from Michigan to Oregon into an old Victorian house. Coraline spends her free time exploring the house, only to find a door opening to a brick wall. One night, that brick wall disappeared, revealing a tunnel that travels to another world. While there, she meets the other mother with button eyes, who showers Coraline with attention and good food, something she's been sorely missing in her normal life. Unfortunately, it turns out that the other mother is actually known as Beldam, an evil entity who is trying to capture sad people in her dimension. Beldam ends up taking Coraline's parents, leaving Coraline to have to rescue them before it's too late. I have to say, the button eyes are what get me, almost showing as if it's lacking a soul. And with the animation being fluid and dark, almost eerie, it's gonna make kids a little on edge. Then the innocence of Dakota Fanning's voice as the titular character, she becomes even more relatable. So make sure to take an adventure to another world on Apple TV, Redbox, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 3, Frankenweenie. Not many films can be both a parody and an homage to a classic film, but Tim Burton is able to direct John August's script in such a fashion that helps kids understand and be intrigued by a brilliant story. It's not hard to figure out this is an adaptation, or whatever you want, to the 1931 film Frankenstein. In the film, we follow young Victor Frankenstein, a young talented boy who has his dog as his best friend, named Sparky. It's a cute little bull terrier that is just your typical dog that loves his boy. Well, one day, as Sparky is chasing a ball, he gets hit by a car and dies. Now Victor, who's so overcome with emotion, decides to take some of the stuff he's learned in his science class and put it to the test. Victor is able to get the amount of electricity needed to bring Sparky back to life. Some of the kids learn of what Victor did, and now, with the science fair, they all seem to be wanting to compete with Victor's abilities. Things become chaotic when animals become kaiju, mummies, gremlins that resemble amphibious humanoids. It's really a fun ride with all the shenanigans taking place, and it does include a bit of a spooky factor, especially for the younger audience, with animals coming back to life or changing into some kind of monster. The 3D stop-motion animations bring this tale to life in ways that would not have been able to have been done before. Plus, Tim Burton is a beast when it comes to the dark stories with weird quirks. So take some time to revisit this classic tale in a new way on Disney+, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 4, Paranorman. Sam Felt and Chris Butler directed this 2012 animated comedy horror film that is sometimes more humorous than spooky, but it does have its moments. We follow Norman, a boy who would rather be alone than deal with the living. For a kid to be able to see ghosts at every turn, you'd think his social skills would be a little better. But as we've seen, ghosts aren't always friendly. One day, Norman finds out that he has to keep up with a ritual to keep a witch at bay. However, the witch is able to break free and starts raising the dead. Now this is where we get to a spooky, considering these zombies are straight out of an R.L. Stine Goosebumps kind of story. Groaning, lazily strolling, body parts falling off, and green. The animation used in this entire story really adds some depth to an otherwise easy story, especially for a witch hunt in Massachusetts. It was such a fun watch with my kids, who found some really good belly laughs and some points they were hiding under the covers. So take some time to enjoy this tale on Google Play, Fandango, Prime, Apple TV, or Redbox. Number 5, Mad God. Interpretive art is something that we as a society have gotten away from, but this 2021 stop-motion animation that was written, directed, and produced by Phil Tippett is something very unique. I should actually say that this film took 30 years to complete and finished production in 2021, with the release date in August of 2021, with mostly positive reviews. The visual effects are absolutely stunning with all the detail that was added in, creating this eerie atmosphere. The score draws on that aspect, creating such a wonder. The squelches of flesh tearing off bones, the screams of babies, the dripping of blood mixed with coins and jewels. It's hard to miss a lot. There's even points where you'll have to go back and re-watch to catch little things from the backgrounds, helping to tie in the forefront. Throughout the whole film, we are watching a humanoid-like creature travel through all these layers of some kind of planet or dimension. Other humanoid figures are often seen getting squished, blown up, set on fire, or being trampled. Demonic-like creatures rule over the land, eating and killing any other living being in sight. There is really so much to see, and I'm not going to dive into what this all could mean from Tippett's mind or what it means to me. I would probably have to go back and give this another watch just to figure that out. But honestly, it creeped me out at times. It's a brilliant film with so much going on, yet not a single word of dialogue. I want to hear your thoughts after you check out this masterpiece on AMC Plus, Sling, Prime, Philo, Fandango, Google Play, or Apple TV. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Number 6, Seoul Station. 2016 South Korean film Seoul Station is often considered the prequel to the film Train to Busan. And honestly, had it not been for this list, I would have never even heard of this. I was glad I was able to sit down and watch this, as it was a pleasant surprise. We follow a young woman, her boyfriend, and her supposed dad as they have to face a zombie outbreak. The young woman is often seen running around Seoul with some homeless men, trying to outrun all the zombies and get back to her boyfriend. The boyfriend ends up encountering a man that claims to be her dad. But again, things aren't always what they seem. The boyfriend is trying to pimp out his girl. Well, she wants nothing to do with that. And the guy claiming to be her dad is actually her previous pimp. Then we have all these zombies running. Literally running, trying to get their next meal. There's even a point in which the police force stands down and trying to contain the state of emergency so that the military can come and take control. Now, it's important to note that South Korea guns are banned and only used sparingly by police. So when the military comes in and starts shooting up the alley, it's something they're not used to. Even the big bad pimp gets scared seeing the little revolver from the officer. The film also touches on topics regarding prostitution and homelessness in South Korea, showing that the homeless are often put into zones, or women being less than men. The spooky factor in this entire film is the way the zombies are portrayed. Often bloodied, veins visible from afar, eyes devoid of a soul. Either which way, I'm sure you could find more unsettling factors once you check this out on Zumo, Tubi, Sling, Fandango, Redbox, Prime, Plex, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 7, The Nightmare Before Christmas. In Halloween Town, the king, Jack Skellington, seems to be interested in other holidays due to Halloween becoming redundant. He longs for some new adventures, so one night, he happens upon the doors to the other holiday towns, but most importantly, Christmas Town. Jack, with his trusty sidekick Zero, travel to Christmas Town to learn about it, kidnap Santa, and brings Christmas to Halloween Town, inflicting his own personal touches to the once joyous occasion. There's quite a bit of adventure in this film as Jack goes around being Sandy Claus instead of letting Santa do his job. Santa is always portrayed as a jolly round man with white hair and beard, so when Jack shows up in his Santa outfit, it's almost more unnerving than anything. Could you imagine seeing a skeleton as Santa when you were a kid? Sure, this came out in 1993, so a lot of us saw this when we were kids, so it's no surprise that there's such a cult following with this film. Tim Burton once again created a world that mystified and terrified us as kids. The stop-motion animated gothic musical fantasy was directed by newcomer Henry Selick, who is later known for directing such films as Coraline, Monkey Bone, and Wendell and Wild. There's a little bit of spook factor here with all the animation and storyline. But what gets me the most is a skeleton singing. I don't know why, but it creeps me out. But make sure to check out this adventure over on Disney Plus, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Mystery Inc. is notorious for finding the real villains under the mask through all of their investigations. But what if it wasn't always that simple? The gang had split up and now is reuniting to film for a TV show that Daphne created, hunting real ghosts when they're invited to go to Moonscar Island and see what's lurking in the Louisiana bayou. There they meet with others, and shortly after arriving, zombies start chasing the gang down. The animation in this 1998 direct-to-video animated mystery comedy is darker than what we've grown accustomed to. The bayou is shaded in dark grays and blacks, with the trees just peeking out of the waterways. And that's just to get to the island. With this being a Scooby-Doo entry, I have to tell you, it is not what I expected. Honestly, I rolled my eyes back in the day when somebody suggested to watch it, thinking it was just going to be another man in a mask kind of thing. However, with the zombies actually being real and werecats too, it intrigued me enough to pick through and let my imagination run wild. So make sure to take some time to enjoy one of the best adventures of Mystery Inc. on Boomerang, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 9, Monster House. Halloween is always an interesting time to come up with ghost stories, tell tales about the creepy, mean neighbors, and to just pull some pranks. For DJ, who is now 12, trick-or-treating is almost too much of a baby thing to do, but still goes with his friends. Mind you, his parents left him in the care of a babysitter who is more into her boyfriend than anything. Well, when they get across the street to Mr. Nevercracker's house, things turn sour real quick. The old man has a heart attack, causing him to have to go to the hospital, but becomes irate with having to leave. And the kids, who are just being kids, decide to let curiosity run its course. The house becomes alive, eating anything and everything in its path. Soon they realize that the house is actually possessed by the old man's late wife. And now they have to defeat her before she consumes them. This is one of my favorite films on this list, considering just how it goes from this innocent kids being kids on Halloween to having to step up and be responsible about some things. However, this house is just weird, and the story behind it is even more spooky than we ever imagined. It's not a typical haunted house everybody has in their neighborhood, but one with a lot of background that's imprinted on the entire structure. Take some time to check out this treat on Google Play, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10, Resident Evil Degeneration. In 2008, we got to see Claire and Leon back together in the latest installment to the Resident Evil franchise. This particular film is actually related more to the video game Resident Evil 2, where the duo is trying to combat the government and their trials with the T-virus and the newest G-virus. I have to say, that G-virus really made some kind of super monster that is out of people's imaginations. To me, it's almost like Predator mixed with Spider-Man's venom and a giant eye on a shoulder. I don't even know, but it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Especially when Leon stabs that giant eye right in the pupil and fluid bursts out like a geyser for a second. Ugh. Overall, the film really plays into corrupt government projects that are sworn to secrecy. Sound a little too familiar? I digress. The animation is not some of the greatest and often lacks that extra layer of emotion to scenes, mainly because the people's faces have one look and one look only. Kinda robotic. But it all adds to the intensity, considering we really don't know what others are thinking and feeling. But let me know your thoughts after you check this out on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again and take care.